you do know Jesus. Jesus, Mary's baby. Jesus, the stone hewed out the mountain. Jesus, the rock of ages. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? Jesus. Been there before, been there. God, I'm just trying to see if I'm preaching to the right crowd this morning. You do know Jesus. Well, Jesus was not born, Sister Lanier, into one of those birthing suites. He was born in a much different place. Jesus was wrapped in strips, or what the Bible called swaddling clothes, and he was laid in a manger or a feed box or an animal feeding trough. And this teaches us that he was born into poverty. A king that was not born in a mansion but was born into poverty. His parents did not own a mansion or a condo back in Nazareth. They had no monetary power by which to buy a place to stay in the crowded town of Bethlehem. They did not have at their disposal the best nurses or doctors or midwives of the day. They could not even get in Motel 6, as Thomas. There was no room in the inn. They couldn't get in the Marriott. They couldn't get in the Red Roof. Y'all won't help me in here. Even though they left the light on, they couldn't get in the Sheraton, the Hampton Inn. And so they had to go into an animal stable for Mary to give birth to Jesus. The place that he was born spoke of poverty. He was born in the unsterilized environment of a cattle stall. He was wrapped not in a luxurious preheated receiving blanket, but he was wrapped in strips of cloth. He was not laid in the nice, warm, comfortable, soft bed, but he was laid in the cattle's feed box. He was laid inside a manger. Furthermore, this poverty into which he was born was evident even 40 days later when the Virgin Mary and Joseph came with Jesus to the temple to fulfill the law of Moses, because according to the law, Mary not only needed to dedicate her firstborn son to Jehovah, but she also had to go there for purification according to Leviticus 12. And she had to make a sacrifice. The typical sacrifice during that time was they had to make the sacrifice of a lamb and a pigeon. But because they were poor, the law allowed those that were poor not to make the sacrifice of a lamb because they may not be able to afford a lamb. So it would allow them to make a sacrifice of 2 pigeons. And so Mary had to make the sacrifice of 2 pigeons. Now watch this. Although Mary brought a lamb with her to the temple. Some of y'all didn't get that. Some of you get it when you go home. She could not make a sacrifice of a lamb. She had a lamb in her arms because she carried with her the Lamb of God. However, it was not yet his hour to be offered unto the Lord or to be sacrificed for the atonement of our sin. And so though Mary had a little lamb, she still had to sacrifice 2 pigeons.